of the most surprising things about the recent SHSMD 23 conference was that AI was not the most popular topic. Instead, the HIPAA challenge was what was on the lips of most attendees, and it was the hottest topic for all the hallway conversations that I overheard. What is this HIPAA challenge? Well, let me tell you. Recently, HHS came out with guidance that made it very clear that third-party tracking pixels from companies like Meta and Google are actually a HIPAA breach. This means that healthcare organizations cannot use these pixels to track visitors to their website or use them for retargeting campaigns. This change has been a huge disruption for healthcare marketers on the provider side, and I wanted to find out more. Hello and welcome to Sway Health, where we bring you the latest insights and interesting stories from the brightest minds in healthcare marketing. I'm Colin Hung, and joining me on the program today is Ben Dillon, CEO of Geonetric. I caught up with Ben at the recent SHSMD 23 conference in Chicago, and I asked them about this HIPAA challenge. So sit back, get ready to be inspired, and let's take your marketing game to the next level. Let's jump right in. Ben, welcome back to the program.
It's great to be here. Great to see you again.
Congratulations in person on becoming the CEO of Geonetric.
Thanks. I've been with Geonetric for 23 years. I'm thrilled to be taking the helm. It's a really great time to be getting involved in some new and different ways with the organization.
Now, we always have a lot of fun when we're here in person, but this time I've got to ask you what some of the interesting things you're working on. And we were talking just before, but some of the work you're doing around this HIPAA stuff that is on everyone's lips here at SHSMD 23.
Yeah, it's been a huge topic throughout the whole year since the guidance dropped last December. Continues to move and evolve. It's very squishy guidance, and so organizations are finding their own place in terms of what they're comfortable with and not comfortable with. The thing that I am seeing out there is a lot of organizations are still seeing this as a pixel issue, right? Because the guidance itself talks about marketing trackers, and it really is quite a bit bigger than that. This really redefines the way that we look at PHI within the context of all the things we do within a digital marketing realm. And as a result, yes, it has to do with pixels, but also anything within your marketing tech stack that touches live patient consumer traffic now is pretty much in the context of HIPAA, whereas we as an industry really didn't think of it that way, before last year. Right. And so, yes, it has to do with, Facebook and Google analytics and those sorts of things, but also your marketing automation platform, your content management system and where that's hosted, if you have consumer data platforms, all these things now have to be pulled into the context of HIPAA and dealt with in some different ways. And some of those we've got really good answers for. Some of those are really challenging still for organizations to find solutions that they can be comfortable with over the long term.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing you say is that it's not just the pixel. It is well beyond that, and it's almost like you're having to reframe the problem a little bit for your customers.
Absolutely. We work with some organizations on personalization for the web initiatives, and a lot of these personalization platforms, they're only available as cloud-hosted SaaS products. They won't sign a BAA. That's probably not a platform that's really an option going forward. And so the set of tools that we can use in healthcare really is going to be curtailed, and that's going to make it harder for a lot of healthcare marketers to execute on the things they need to.
Now, one of the other things that you were telling me that you're working on is this new collaboration, or maybe deeper collaboration is a better way to put it, between HR and marketing at healthcare organizations. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so giving a talk tomorrow, really looking at what marketers and particularly digital marketers can do to help to alleviate this crisis. So it's been a topic for a while. I think the big thing to note is this is not a short-term crisis. 10 years ago, we were talking about how 45% of nurses were going to be up for retirement in the next 10 years. We're 10 years later, and somehow we're surprised that we have a shortage, right? And it's not just nurses, it's doctors, it's respiratory therapists, it's up and down the line. And then with all the the great resignation stuff that's happened, it's a lot of areas that aren't clinical as well. So I'm going to be presenting without a client support because everyone we worked with on this project has actually left the organization. A number of them leaving healthcare altogether. So we're going to be dealing with this for a long time. Figuring out how marketing can help support HR, when in many healthcare organizations, they've never really been called on to do that in the past. So thinking about how you can extend your brand to be an employer brand and speak to some of those audiences and not just a consumer brand. Really looking at what that whole experience is for people searching for jobs, and that's people looking for jobs in the organization for the first time, and current employees who are maybe looking for new opportunities within the organization. And then building out some of those experiences in a way that really work for consumers and put your best foot forward to tell who you are and explain and show why you're a great place to work, why maybe it's a great place to live, really selling that in ways that people haven't before. Just like all other major decisions in our lives, we spend more time online evaluating these decisions before we will ever engage with a brand directly or with a person at that organization. And so if you're not really putting that whole story out and selling it in a wide variety of ways, you're way too late in the process to really sell people on the idea of choosing you over someone else. Ultimately, the organizations that can become the employer of choice in their market for the things they need, like, they're the organizations that are going to be successful over the next 10 years. If you're not in that position, it's going to be a real struggle.
I'm super excited about this kind of collaboration because I frankly thought it was happening all along. But as I understand it, HR has always outsourced the recruitment to another party and never really, well, most organizations didn't really work closely with marketing. But now that they are working together, we're starting to see some of the things that you're talking about there, where the extension of the brand is so important to the people being recruited, talking about the community and their ties to the community and what it's like to be a place of work. And that, in my mind, is making the HR pitch even stronger now.
I think there's great opportunities for that. Right? It is something where it's a different audience, and it's a different set of goals and a different set of needs, and feeding a different part of the organization. So a lot of organizations, as they've put together their brands and they've really thought through how they're going to speak to patients and consumers, haven't necessarily really looked at how do we adapt those messages to really work with some of the other audiences we need, and in particular, your own employees and prospective employees. And I think there's some great ways to connect with those audiences in this way. And you can have the tools and the stories that support that and really help to get people through the pipeline and get them employed at the organization.
Always great to have you on the program. Where can people go to find more information about you and Geonetric?
I mean, the best place is at our website at geonetric.com.
Awesome. Always a pleasure to have you. And we'll hopefully see each other again later on this year.
Absolutely. Great to see you.
Good to see you too. I want to thank Ben for coming on the program today and for sharing his thoughts on the HIPAA challenge. My key takeaway from this discussion is that this is about more than just those pixels. According to Ben, this is a great opportunity for healthcare organizations, especially marketers, to review all their processes with a lens and a focus on privacy. And hey, if you enjoyed this interview as much as I did, please like and subscribe. Also, head on over to Sway Health. That's Sway with 2 A's, .health. That's where you'll find more great content like this. I'm Colin Hung. Thanks for being here, and I'll catch you on the next video.